Back at halftime, 21-7, the lead for Iowa over Michigan. Welcome back to the Big House. Dave Barnett and Bill Curry. A stunning end to the first half and a play that will be second-guessed forever if Michigan loses this game. The decision to punt it to Tim Dwight.
Lloyd Carr will live with this for a long, long time, and he'll see this in his dreams because it's really not a simple call, because there's a possibility of a blocked punt if you punt directionally out of your own end zone. But to kick to Tim Dwight, instead of kicking out of bounds, set up an opportunity for this phenomenal athletic play by Tim Dwight, who is one of the rockets we mentioned in the open. Tim Dwight, who led the nation, or second the nation in punt returns a year ago. Then with a 2-point, we have the result of 21-7.
Set for the start of the second half as we check in with Dave Ryan on the sidelines.
Dave and Bill, thanks. A couple of moments ago, I just talked with Iowa head coach Hayden Fry, who said plain and simple, his team has got to play this game as if it's 0-0 right now. Forget the big lead this team has. They've got to continue to execute, stop making mistakes, especially with turnovers. He feels confident his Hawkeyes can win, as he told us yesterday they could, here in Ann Arbor today, guys.
Yeah, if you told him before this first half began that his team would turn it over 3 times, he might figure they would be down 14 points instead of up 14, but they got 4 back from Michigan, including 3 Brian Griese interceptions. First half numbers. Michigan on the ground. Remember, this is Tavian Banks on the ground for Iowa. 118.77. And through the air, just 7 passing yards by Iowa. So 195-84 is your total yardage advantage for Michigan. How can you trail by 14? 2 reasons: the turnovers and the Iowa big plays. Greg McLaughlin set for the second half kickoff. Clarence Williams is the deep man for Michigan. And the Michigan fans got their frustration out of their system as their team was heading to the locker room at the end of the first half. When they came back out, they gave them maybe the biggest roar of approval of the year. So they're ready to try and help this Wolverine come from behind effort. Short kick and a return by Kevin Bryant for Michigan. Both teams looking at this one as definitely a true test, maybe the first of the year for Michigan, although they did get a pretty good challenge from Notre Dame, and Iowa in their first true test defeated by Ohio State. The Tulsa offense, the Tulsa defense they faced, 111 in the country. Ohio State 46 in the country. Williams off right tackle about 3. There was no question coming in that as far as Iowa was concerned, having flunked that Ohio State test, they had a chance today to show what they really are, and so far they've done it. Iowa offense number 2 nationally, 516 per game. Now the Michigan defense allowing against Indiana a couple of weeks ago 157. Notre Dame a little bit better offense, 354. This Iowa offense clearly the best that they faced this year, and only 84 total yards in the first half. Certainly they have passed, but they're down. Williams, a nice game, swinging out and knocked out at the 48 after 16 yards by Ples Atkins.
We talked about mismatches, and we knew they would get back to this situation with the tailback, Chris Howard, matched up on number 44, Raj Clark, the inside linebacker. The swing pass, this time successfully executed for a nice game. Tailbacks run faster than linebackers.
Raj Clark, a big linebacker at 245 pounds. Anthony Thomas gets the call. Trying to break that last ankle tackle by Clark, but unable to do so.
Anthony showed a little inexperience there. He is a true freshman, although a good one. He had the cutback for a big gainer and just didn't see it.
Clark out of Baytown, Texas, which, not surprisingly, when Hayden Fry took over at Iowa, Texas became his second favorite recruiting ground. He was able to close the door on the Iowa high school stars leaving the state. Very seldom does that happen anymore, and he brings in more than his share from Texas. Williams trying the other side this time. And let's see where they mark him out, right about where he needed to get for the first down at the 37.
A major part of offensive planning is to find mismatches, and in this case, it's the running back Clarence Williams on the strong safety. You see Williams going in the direction of his right. Another nice throw and catch, matched up with the strong safety Kerry Cooks, and athletically, the running back should prevail in the open field as he did in that case.
First down it is. 3 catches today for Greasy's favorite target, Williams. Clarence now getting the ball on the ground. Piece of work there, and a late flag on apparently a late hit. Right at the Michigan bench. If you're going to make a late hit, that's not the place to do so.
Good block that time by the backup tight end, 36, Aaron Shea, to spring Clarence Williams. It is a late hit. Here comes Clarence behind Shea's outstanding block. Gets to the sideline. A little holding there by Demetrius Smith that wasn't called. And it's Kerry Cooks, the defensive captain, number 15. I'm sorry, Eric Thigpen, number 21, who came and made just a little bit of a late hit. Was not an intent to injure, just a little late. A step out of bounds. It's very costly.
Has been a game of mishaps. 5 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 11 plays for lost yards, a blocked extra point, a blocked punt. A strong start, though, to this third quarter drive for the Wolverines. And Anthony Thomas for maybe a yard.
There is a very strong theory among coaches that the first 5 minutes of the third quarter is the most important part of a football game. If that is the case, Michigan is certainly taking advantage of it in this situation.
Yeah, they have the look of a team that, rather than getting railed at the half by Lloyd Carr, heard a settle down speech.
Well, I think that would have been the right thing. You never know what coaches say or think, but that's probably what happened.
Williams bouncing outside and run down by Kerry Cooks at the 10. There's the closing speed on the display by Mr. Cooks. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, Lloyd Carr, head coach of Michigan, told his team in the halftime locker room, as you saying a moment ago, 1 drive at a time. Let's be careful with the football, but don't give up by any means. And, Dave, if you could have seen the players blast by me in the runway heading onto Michigan Stadium field here, they were completely fired up for the second half. So it's obvious, despite the fact they're down by 14, they're far from giving up in this game.
Injured player for Iowa, Raj Clark.
It would appear that it's a shoulder. Now, this is the second linebacker that Iowa has lost, and they can't afford to lose many folks in one position. I had the opportunity to visit with Coach Bo Schembechler, the legendary Michigan coach, yesterday. We were talking about the fact that the numbers are just too low. 85 scholarships doesn't allow for enough players to have a complete squad and to practice as hard as you would like. So when you lose a few players, you really can't maintain the quality. Coach Schembechler thinks we need to add about 15 scholarships and make freshmen ineligible, and I agree with him.
Well, Clark able to walk off and try to shake it off. Remember, he's in there only because Vernon Rollins is out for the year after ACL surgery. Here's a 3rd and 6. Greasy has to step away.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Sonic, America's Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by the new Dodge. It's about change.
The Harlan Hatcher Library here on campus. Well, precisely the drive that Michigan hoped for to open the third quarter, and exactly the guy they don't want to have affect this game any more than he already has. But they again kick it to Tim White from 1 yard deep, and they're ready for him.
Number 20, Ian Gold, made that happen. He did not make the tackle. but he forced Tim Dwight to make a move. A reserve linebacker, a former running back, for whom the Michigan coaches have high hopes. Ian Gold set that play up.
They'll talk to some long-time Iowa fans who've seen pretty much every play of Tim Dwight's career at the half. They said that punt return probably is the best of his career, and that's saying a whole lot. That's putting it up there in the pantheon as some of the biggest plays ever by an Iowa Hawkeye. It's the only time he touched the ball in the first half. But the Wolverines have erased that damage with their opening drive. And Banks turns his back and tries to back up to the line of scrimmage where he runs into Rob Renas. In the second half, here's all teams have gotten against this Michigan defense this year. Baylor 32 total yards, Indiana 82. Only 3 points surrendered, none in the fourth quarter. Sherman unable to hit Dwight on just his 10th pass. He's 2 out of 10 today with 2 interceptions. So the Iowa passing game has been completely obliterated.
And in a year when the wide receivers have been such a major factor, and when Sherman has been so outstanding, and that makes a statement about the fact that the Michigan defense is doing something right in today's game. Certainly an awful lot. As far as Tim Dwight, as soon as I saw he had barbed wire on his bicep, I knew he was tough. I thought it was a tattoo, but I think now maybe it's not even a tattoo, it's the real thing.
Might be. Draw play, and Banks able to show that burst. Shook into the clear, and he's got a first down for Iowa. 17 yards for Tavian Banks.
Tavian Banks is pure acceleration. Very, very rarely do you see anybody in any sport that gets hampered, has to make a move left, right, and then can explode in the manner that Tavian Banks does. It's exciting to see.
And with that, he goes over the 1,000-yard mark this year. Tries the left side. There's some room there, too. Great job, though, by William Peterson to reach out and trip him up along the side. Tavian with a shot today at becoming the fastest ever to 1,000 yards. And by 4 carries, he's done it. He beat Byron Hanspard's record from last year, 125 carries to the 1,000-yard mark. Sanders, Rozier, Allen, not a bad list, and he's the best of the bunch. Charles Woodson was the guilty party for Michigan in this exchange of personal fouls.
I think what happened was that Woodson got off on the sideline, the Iowa sideline, and there was a little pushing and shoving and the kind of thing that you hope doesn't happen. And what we end up with is offsetting penalties. It really doesn't make much of a statement about anybody or to anybody.
On the Hayden Fry bench, it looked like Richard Carter was the man they flagged for Iowa. So they offset, and it's 2nd and 1.
Richard was surrounded by his teammates. That's a good time to take on Charles Woodson. Not the only good time.
And plowing ahead for the first is Berger. Penn State struggling at home all day with Minnesota. Mike Tirico, what's happening now?
Yeah, Dave, after having a field goal blocked, Minnesota goes back on defense. Mike McQueary, 4th turnover of the day into the hands of Ben Mazzara. Minnesota's lining up a 5th field goal attempt of the day. Right now it's 12-3 there. Meantime, Wisconsin has given up 2 touchdown runs to Edwin Watson, and they trail Purdue by 21. Wow.
Upsets in the making everywhere, but none bigger than at Happy Valley. Minnesota made the field goal. It is 15-3. Deep for Gibson. One-on-one with Woodson. That's how he locks up everybody.
It was very clear that Iowa intended to go at Charles Woodson in their planning. If you want to see what man coverage is supposed to look like, it was a hitch and go. and you've got athletic ability, knee bend, excellent turn, recovery speed by the great Charles Woodson. That's how a corner is supposed to look. You will see him playing for a long, long time.
Well, they planned to go right at him, but that's the first time they actually had. 1 yard, if that, for Banks. Into the arms of D'Haney Jones. So 3rd and 8 for Iowa, which has seen Matt Sherman miss on his last 7 pass attempts. And again for the day, just 2 of 11 for 7 yards through the air with 2 interceptions. White, wide left. Gibson again matched with Woodson on the other side. Looks for Dwight, overthrows him.
And he overthrew him because Glenn Steele was lying on his shoulder pads as he tried to release the ball. Steele comes from quarterback's right. He had plenty of time to step up and deliver the ball, even though Steele was there, but he overthrew.
Michigan has just completely erased, Bill, the number 10 passer in the country. And of all their masterpieces this year, in the pass defense category, this is the best. Woodson. He got away. Woodson able to shake loose. On what looked like a hopeless effort, he brings it back 9. 42-yard punt by Baker. 9:15 to go in the 3rd, but a different feel in the big house right now. Michigan taking over at their 27. Before the game, in game day, we heard Brian Griese, the Michigan quarterback, say he knew at some point, and it's turned out today's the day, at some point the Michigan offense would have to win a game. It hasn't really happened this year, maybe the Notre Dame game, because the defense has taken care of things so well. Well, down 7, early 3rd quarter. So far, they look equal to the task as they call on Thomas on the ground.
Carried by Anthony Thomas. Jared DeVries made the stop.
3 key plays on Michigan's outstanding drive early as the swing pass with the mismatch. And I say mismatch, Kerry Cooks later showed with a better angle that it might not have been such a mismatch. Here comes an excellent run by Clarence Williams, and then the late hit on the side by Eric Thigpen, and then the big pass for the touchdown with the obvious offensive interference that wasn't called.
Griese, almost a juggling catch by Ty Streets, who had the first Wolverine touchdown of the day.
Very difficult to see whether Ed Gibson gets a hand in here, but if he doesn't, this is another kind of catch that Ty Streets has got to make. I still can't tell if his fingers touched it, but if they didn't, that receiver, the big-time receivers, make those catches.
Michigan today even better than their sparkling seasonal average. On 3rd, DeVries, though, almost untouched to wrap up Griese.
DeVries is really showing me something, and I suspect he's showing his coaches something in this game because he's playing hurt with that knee, but he's going full speed, 100 miles an hour. Now, Chris Zeman, the right guard for Michigan, also showed us something. He showed a blown assignment, and nobody even blocked on Jared, which made it considerably easier to get there.
They're coming after Vincent again. Well, he sails a beauty. White, the only man back there. And no damage this time for White. Turn ends at the 35 after 9 yards. 54-yard move by Vincent. Tim Dwight, characterized by Hayden Fry as the greatest competitor he has ever coached. He talks about his style.
You just play football the way it should be played. You know, I have a good time just, making things happen. And for a small guy on the field, you got to give that 110% or, you'll basically be left by the wayside.
Then what? He's 5'9". They list him at 185 pounds.
Well, I grabbed his arm yesterday, Dave, and he is not a small guy. His biceps about 18 inches.
Yeah, I'd really question the 185.
He's just not real tall, but he is a big little guy.
Tavian Banks, with the exception of his 53-yarder and one nice burst on the last series, pretty well bottled up. Let's hear from Mike Tirico.
Well, the Randy Moss machine continues. Marshall may be one of its tougher games this year in the MAC against Miami of Ohio. Down 7-0. Chad Pennington, a 41-yard touchdown pass. It's Moss's 17th on the year. They're all tied at 7 in the MAC.
Still got to think about Randy Moss and the Heisman. The numbers he's putting up make that imperative. Here comes Dwight on a reverse. Gets away from Hall. Chased by Frizzell. Knocked out of bounds by Peterson. So the first Hayden Fry exotic of the afternoon, and Michigan was ready.
Hayden said yesterday we're going to have to go to our exotics. Peterson not looking like a true freshman here as he tracks down Tim Dwight. Good play by James Hall to force him deep, which is what allows the pursuit to catch up. A reverse is called a hustle play. 11 men to the ball, and that's what happened there. But it all hinged on number 56, James Hall, staying at home.
I don't know, Tim might be a little dizzy over there. Peterson got it pretty good.
Well, Tim doesn't get dizzy. Tim creates dizzy.
Hayden Fry had said against a team like Michigan, you can't just come with your normal bag of tricks.
Well, Hayden probably has several more, and Lloyd Carr has pulled out one of his with the lateral pass. Lateral was not a part of football lexicon. It's a backward pass and then a forward pass, which didn't work. So none of the exotics, so-called, have worked.
A little bit of a delay to get the clock adjusted. Hawkeyes today just 1 of 7, but the average 3rd and 10, and this is 3rd and 11. Sherman finds Banks underneath, but he can't find any room at all, and wiping him out from behind was Renas.
There just aren't many good calls on 3rd and 11. And we're seeing this, what we call the jailbreak type abbreviated screen behind the line of scrimmage with the lineman out front. We're seeing it so much that defenses are adjusting. They're slowing them up with the linebackers. Renas comes from behind, number 58, to make the play.
Don Patterson, the offensive coordinator on the left for Iowa, said yesterday, obviously with a Hayden Fry team, he's going to have an awful lot of input with his creativity, but on 3rd and 11, it's pretty much Don's show.
Yeah, he said Hayden doesn't have much to say when it gets past 3rd and 6 or so.
Woodson out to the 28. 43-yard punt comes back 12. 6:01 to go in the 3rd. In a 7-point game in Ann Arbor. On that last series, Iowa trying to get Tim Dwight the ball on the reverse. It was strung out successfully, and we didn't see him after this big hit by Peterson.
That's right. This is an extremely physical game. You'll see Peterson come from the deep secondary, full speed. He never let up. He really leveled Tim Dwight, which is tough to do.
Clarence Williams coming through, called on early and often in this 3rd quarter with some of his best ball of the season. Let's look at it again, the Dwight reverse.
I think this is symbolic of the kind of game we see here, where people are playing full bore. This is a big hit by a true freshman on a great senior player, and everybody on the field is laying it on the line, and that's why you love Big Ten football.
Williams good for 8. And a better than 2-to-1 advantage in total yards gets even bigger. Here's a cutback by Thomas, and Anthony Thomas has one man to beat. With an angle, Eric Thigpen shoves him out inside the 5.
And another big block by 76 Steve Hutchinson. the redshirt freshman from Coral Park, Florida. All day long, I've said that Thomas really wasn't seeing the cutback. In this case, he sees it, and when the big guy sees it, he's off to the races.
58 yards. Last gasp right there. Thigpen got him at the 4. Michigan almost perfect scoring inside the 20 this year. Williams with a lean right at the goal line, and they didn't quite get him in. He is a couple of feet out.
They've been down there 24 times. They've had 16 touchdowns and 7 field goals prior to this game. Coach Carr's got to be very pleased with the attitude of his squad coming out here 14 points down and now just about into the end zone to give themselves a chance to tie.
Yeah, if they do, it couldn't hope for a much quicker comeback from 14 down, which they were at the half. Thomas kept his legs driving, but still no signal. And it will be 3rd down.
Crowds get very upset with officials' decisions, but those officials are standing right on this goal line. There's an official standing right there, and he knows whether that ball crossed the plane. And that's what the rule says. The ball must cross the imaginary plane of the end zone. So they did a good job on that call.
Looked like Iowa may have knocked the ball loose, but they'd already called his forward progress. That far away. Thomas again. And again, no signal. Waiting to see where they unpile Anthony Thomas. They haven't said touchdown. They haven't said 4th down.
But whatever they say, the Michigan offensive line is getting manhandled. That offensive line's job, as we indicated earlier, is to get their pads down and move the line of scrimmage back into the end zone so that the back has a place to run.
Well, you can't be any closer to the goal line without actually being in.
This is football. Pads down, everybody fighting.
Griese on the sneak, and that time it works.
Yeah, and that time the big guys up front did something with their feet. That's the first time that the O-line came off like they should, and Coach DeBoer will have them on the boards, literally, on the practice field next week. The Michigan staff will not be excited about that drive from the 2-yard line.
Hasn't been Brian Griese's day. He has thrown 3 interceptions. But he has them in position for Craig Baker to tie it with the extra point. Which he does, and with 3:11 to go in the 3rd, Iowa, which led 21-7 at the half, has been caught.
The offensive line surges with their shoulder pads, their feet. They create movement so that the quarterback can dive and get across that imaginary line. That caused the touchdown. And on the previous 2 plays, they did not respond in the same fashion.
Bill, there are players and coaches alike who don't put a lot of stock in quarterback sneaks because he has to come from a standing start. Do you have any feeling one way or the other?
I really like the quarterback sneak, except for one factor. The officials find it difficult to mark the spot normally in a quarterback sneak situation. At the goal line, I think it's an excellent play. I would advise Brian Griese to keep his pads down. When he jumps, those linebackers get a shot at him. They could knock him back. I'd rather see him keep it down right behind those big old rears of those linemen.
Tim Dwight, who got shaken up apparently on the hit by Peterson, back in the middle of the receiving formation for the Hawkeyes. Jay Feely often doesn't get you one to return, but Dwight brings this one from the 3, and he again finds some open room. Tim Dwight in a foot race and knocked out. They will mark him at the 27-yard line, but he's done it again to Michigan. And if not for the close by Dwayne Patman, this one might have gone 97. As it is, it's 72.
Look at the explosiveness of Tim Dwight. This is a man who won 15 titles in track in his high school career in Iowa City. And once he gets an opening, the blocking is superb by everybody up front. You can't single out a particular blocker. That kickoff return team will get enormous credit if this results in points.
Michigan goes 71 yards in 6 plays, and Tim Dwight brings it back 72. And it's Iowa 1st and 10 from the 26 of the Wolverines. Davian Banks thought he saw room to the left. Didn't last long. Clint Copenhaver wrapped him up at the 32. So often when he's gotten the ball either on a pitch or a handoff, he's had to immediately change direction from the way the play was designed.
Michigan defense is set up to create situations so that backs are forced to try to bounce, and then they use their great speed to track you down.
He had gone to 100 for the day. That drops him back to 94 on his 15 carries. Sherman, well protected, steps up, and the completion at the 26-yard line for the fullback, Michael Berger. Third catch this year for the former tight end.
For whatever reason, Tim Sherman is shaking. He had plenty of time in the pocket there, and he got what we call nervous feet. He started running and moving and jerking when he didn't need to. He's not the poised quarterback that I've seen him be in the past.
And his numbers reflect that. 3 for 13 for 12 yards. 2 interceptions. Protection good again. But Woodson closed on what he thought was the angle at the 21-yard line. Michigan apparently forcing Iowa to settle for 3, or the attempted 3. Because it would break the tie, but after the momentum provided by that return by Dwight, maybe a little disappointing.
I'll tell you, Hayden Fry is well known for his little bag of tricks and what he calls exotics. The way this game is going, I wouldn't be surprised to see a fake here if they've got something they think will work.
Well, if they kick it, it's just 38 yards for Zach Brummer. Because they score mostly touchdowns, he hasn't tried that many this year. This one is on the mark, and it does break the tie.
And that faint sound you hear from the corner of the end zone is the 5,000 Iowans. It's amazing how different the 5,000 sound from the hundreds.
Just a tiny little pocket. But they're making their presence known about as well as they can in this setting. Nothing would boost Peyton Manning's Heisman chances better than an SEC title. And number 9 Tennessee's back in contention thanks to LSU's upset of Florida last week, seen on ESPN. But to remain in the title chase, the Vols have to win a tough one on the road, and that's in Legion Field tonight at 7 Eastern. Let's see what's happening now with Minnesota Penn State with Mike Tirico.
Just a minute ago in Happy Valley, Curtis Enos runs in this 6-yard touchdown after a controversial and questionable pass interference call against the Gophers. Minnesota still leads, but by 5. It's about 9 minutes left in that fourth quarter.
Amazing that one has gone the way it has, but Penn State with plenty of time to turn it around. Michigan turned it around, tied it at 21. Dwight's return allows Iowa to regain the lead with just 35 seconds to go in the period. Michigan crowded up as if they expect exactly what they get. The high blue. Williams knocked off his feet at the 26-yard line by Doug Miller.
Even though he didn't make a long return, that's good coaching. When the coaches at Michigan realized there were going to be blue kicks, short kicks, they moved everybody up so that their returner would handle the ball rather than their front people. Smart.
So Michigan, with Shaw right and Streets left, taking over from their 26. Anthony Thomas, maybe one, wrapped up by Raj Clark, who had to be helped off earlier in the quarter. Aaron Klein there to help out on what might be the last play of the third quarter.
They came right back to the play that Thomas broke for the long run, and this time Iowa was ready.
Well, from 14 down to 3 down, Brian Griese will take that at home. 15 more minutes at Michigan Stadium. Number 15, Iowa, 24-21 over the 5th-ranked Wolverines of Michigan.